I'm Laura, 68. Standing in the conservatory of this grand mansion, the morning light catches the simple gold band on my left hand. It's been 6 months since I married Terry, and life has taken a turn I never could have imagined. But it all started with a cruel ultimatum from my daughter, Lily. After my husband, Henry, passed away, Lily, who was 42 and had inherited her father's business, came to me with a cold determination. I was in the kitchen, the place where I'd cooked countless meals for our family, when she walked in. Her face was set, and I knew she'd made up her mind about something. "Mom, we need to talk," she said, setting her designer bag on the counter with a sharp thud. "This arrangement isn't working anymore. Dad left everything to me, and I can't afford to support you." I was still in my black dress from the funeral, the weight of losing Henry after 45 years of marriage pressing down on me. My hands trembled as I reached for the coffee pot. "What arrangement, honey?" "You living here in my house," she replied crisply. "I have my own family and bills to think about." The coffee cup slipped from my fingers and shattered on the floor. It felt like my life was breaking apart right before my eyes. "Lily, it's only been 3 weeks since Henry died."
She didn't even look at the mess.
"Life goes on, Mom. I've found a solution. There's a job as a private caregiver. The pay is good, and you used to be a nurse before you married Dad. It's perfect." I was stunned. "Lily, I haven't worked as a nurse in over 40 years. Medicine has changed. It's not medical nursing. It's more like companionship, helping with daily activities." "You can do that," she insisted, already scrolling through her phone. "I've already contacted them. You have an interview tomorrow." And if I didn't get the job? The look in her eyes told me the answer. I'd have to find somewhere else to live. The next morning, I found myself standing outside a mansion that looked like it belonged in a movie. The driveway was longer than our old street. I rang the doorbell with shaking hands, wondering how my life had come to this. A stern-looking woman in her 50s, named Margaret, the house manager, answered the door. "Mrs. Johnson, please come in," she said. The inside of the house was even more intimidating. Marble floors, crystal chandeliers, and artwork that probably cost more than I'd made in my entire nursing career. Margaret led me through hallways lined with portraits of people who looked like they'd never known financial worry. "Mr. Anderson requires round-the-clock care. He's paralyzed from the waist down after an accident 5 years ago. The position includes room and board and a very generous salary," she explained as we walked. Before we entered a set of double doors, she warned me, "Mr. Anderson can be difficult. He's had 17 caregivers in the past 2 years." My heart sank. What had I gotten myself into? When we entered the room, I saw a man in a wheelchair by the window. He had silver hair and strong features that must have been striking when he was younger. His eyes were a deep blue, the kind that seemed to hold 1,000 memories. "Mr. Anderson, this is Laura Johnson, the candidate we discussed," Margaret said. He turned his wheelchair towards me, and I felt a strange sensation wash over me. There was something familiar about him, but I couldn't put my finger on it. "Please sit down," he said in a deep, cultured voice. As I sat down, he studied me intently. "Margaret tells me you are a nurse, and your husband recently passed away. I'm sorry for your loss." I thanked him, glancing down at my hands, still wearing Henry's ring. "It's been difficult." He continued to stare at me. "Have we met before? There's something about you that seems familiar." My blood ran cold. I forced a smile. "I don't think so, Mr. Anderson. I'm sure I would remember." But even as I said it, I felt a nagging feeling that there was a connection. He asked me why I wanted the job, and I told him the truth, though not all of it. I believe in taking care of people. Something in his expression softened. "And you're not afraid of challenging situations?" I thought about Lily's cold eyes and the broken coffee cup on the floor. "No, sir, I'm not afraid." He then asked Margaret to leave us alone. When she was gone, he wheeled his chair closer to mine. "I'm going to be frank with you. I'm not an easy man to work for. But if you take this position, you'll be treated with respect and paid well. However, I need someone I can trust." I looked into his blue eyes and felt that strange flutter of recognition again. "Yes, Mr. Anderson, I can be that person." He extended his hand to shake mine, and when our fingers touched, I felt a jolt of electricity. Welcome to my home, Laura. My first week at the mansion was like living in a beautiful prison. The room I was given was larger than my old apartment with Henry, but every morning I woke up with the weight of my new reality pressing on me. Mr. Anderson, or Terry, as he asked me to call him later, was exactly as Margaret had warned, demanding and particular. One day, while he napped, I unpacked the few boxes Lily had allowed me to bring. At the bottom of one box, I found my old photo albums. I hadn't looked at them in years. As I flipped through the pages, I came across a photo that made my world stop. I was 20 years old, wearing a yellow sundress I'd sewn myself. My hair was long and dark, and I was laughing. Standing beside me was a young man with dark hair and those same deep blue eyes. Terry Anderson. Memories came flooding back. Terry had been my first love. We'd promised to marry when he made his fortune. He'd kissed me goodbye on a train platform 48 years ago and had never returned. His letters had stopped coming, and I'd eventually met Henry, a kind and steady man who loved me unconditionally. I'd married Henry 6 months before Terry had sent word that he was coming home. I stared at the photo, trying to reconcile the young man in the picture with the silver-haired man in the wheelchair downstairs. What had happened to him? Why had he never come back? That night, Terry asked me if I'd ever been to a small town called Rosewood. I knew it was where we'd met and fallen in love, but I lied. I'm not sure. He studied my face. There was a diner there and a little lake where young people used to go on Sundays. I felt the color drain from my face. Mr. Anderson, I think you're confusing me with someone else. But he didn't look convinced. As I turned to leave, he whispered, "Yellow dress. You always looked beautiful in yellow." I couldn't sleep that night. The next morning, I decided to face the truth. I found Terry in the conservatory. "Good morning, Mr. Anderson," I said, setting his coffee down exactly where he liked it. He looked up at me. "Did you sleep well?" "No," I replied honestly. "Did you?" He gave a small smile. "No, I kept thinking about yellow dresses and cherry Coke at the diner in Rosewood." I knew there was no point in denying it anymore. The cherry Coke was too sweet. "You always said I should get vanilla, but I was stubborn." He closed his eyes, and when he opened them, they were bright with unshed tears. "Laura, I've carried the memory of you with me for 48 years. I never married because no one else was you." I told him about Henry and how I'd waited for him, but his letters had stopped coming. He explained that his business partners had intercepted his letters and told him I'd moved on. We talked about the past and the choices we'd made. He said he'd hired a private investigator to keep track of me, just to make sure I was happy. I was angry at first, but then I realized that we'd both been victims of circumstances. "Terry, I loved you then, and I think I still love a part of you," I said. He reached for my hand. "I'm still here, buried under all this bitterness and disappointment. But I'm still the boy who loved you." We decided to give our relationship a chance. But Lily wouldn't be happy about it. One day, Lily called me. She'd heard from someone at church that she'd seen me with a man in a wheelchair at the grocery store. "Mom, what's going on? Are you involved with this man?" she demanded. I tried to explain, but she was furious. "You're embarrassing our family. Dad's not even cold in the ground, and you're already with another man." Terry took the phone from me. "Ms. Johnson, your mother is not a gold digger. I'm the one pursuing her." Lily insisted on meeting with Terry to discuss the situation. The next day, she arrived at the mansion, dressed in her best suit, looking like a businesswoman on a mission. She started by saying she was only there out of concern for me. "My mother is vulnerable right now. This living arrangement raises questions about the nature of your relationship." Terry listened calmly and then asked her what she thought would be best for me. She said I should come home. Terry pointed out that she'd thrown me out 3 weeks after Henry's funeral. "You gave her an ultimatum: work or find somewhere else to live." Lily's professional composure started to crack. "My mother has always been high maintenance. She expects everyone to take care of her." I couldn't stay silent. "Lily, I worked 2 jobs to put you through college. I took care of your father through 5 years of cancer treatments without a complaint. I've only asked for a place to grieve. She exploded. You were smothering me. I needed space. Terry looked at her with disgust. Ms. Johnson, I think we're done here. Lily then accused me of using Terry for his money. Terry pulled out a thick legal document. I've updated my will. Everything I own is going to charity. Your mother won't inherit a penny from me. Lily was shocked. She stood up and said, Fine. Throw your life away on some fantasy from 50 years ago. But don't come crying to me when it falls apart. After she left, Terry asked me if I was all right. I thought about it and realized that for the first time in a long time I felt free. Yes, I think I am. 6 months later, we got married quietly, with only Margaret and Terry's lawyer as witnesses. It wasn't the grand wedding I dreamed of as a young girl, but it was perfect in its simplicity. Recently, Lily came to the mansion. She looked tired and older. She congratulated me on my marriage, but there was an edge to her voice. Then she told me something that shocked me. She'd found love letters Henry had written to another woman 2 years before he died. I was devastated at first, but then I felt a strange sense of relief. Your father was a good man, but he made some mistakes. It doesn't erase the good years we had, but it does put things in perspective. Lily started to cry. I was so jealous of you. I couldn't understand how you could move on. I took my anger out on you because of the affair. I hugged her. It's okay, sweetheart. I forgive you. But if you want to be part of my life, you need to accept my choices and respect my marriage. She thought for a while and then turned to Terry. I'm sorry for what I said. I was wrong. Terry inclined his head. Grief makes us say things we don't mean. Lily then asked me if I was happy. I thought about the life I'd built with Terry, the quiet mornings in the conservatory, the wild flowers he still brought me, and the contentment I felt falling asleep beside him. Yes, I'm happy. She nodded slowly. Then I want to try to be part of your life again. I want to get to know Terry as your husband. After she left, Terry and I sat in the garden, watching the sunset. Do you think she means it? I asked. I think she's her mother's daughter. She's stronger and more forgiving than she gives herself credit for, he replied. As the stars began to appear in the sky, I thought about the journey that had brought me here. Losing Henry, being cast out by my daughter, and then finding Terry again. Sometimes, you have to lose everything to find what you were really looking for all along.